It's Friday, September 17th, and this is now on HNN.
That's somebody's baby.
Officials are trying to determine if a bag found near Bellows Beach is connected to the search for a missing 6-year-old.
If you're in that situation, you want others to help.
Discouraging news regarding the pandemic. Today is the highest single-day total for COVID deaths in the state since the pandemic began.
Multiple law enforcement agencies say they're prepared ahead of a rally for those who support January 6th insurrectionists. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill with a look at the security preparations and the threats officials deem credible.
Oh my goodness, it was just amazing.
These stories plus Marvel meets Maui in this week's Mothership Podcast. That's coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching This Is Now. Mark Carpenter in for Ashley here in the HNN Digital Center. We begin with the search for the missing 6-year-old that now enters its 5th day.
And we have new details regarding Isabella Ariel Kalua's adoptive family. Sammy Salina joins us live with the latest developments. Sammy.
We're near Bellows Beach Park, and HPD and military police, they're continuing their search for the little girl, and right now you can see that they're restricting access. Today we did hear from the adoptive family's lawyer. This is what they said in a statement. Attorney William Harrison, representing the Kalua family, said that the family has been fully cooperative with the police department's investigation. They consented to a full search of the residence, which includes electronics. The attorney said the family has given multiple statements to authorities. They said the family has been getting death threats and has been advised to stay in their homes and not talk about the case, but they have sent other family members to search for the little girl and supplies to the other volunteers. Again, this is from the family's lawyer. Yesterday, sources and witnesses say a bag was found near Bellows Beach with beach toys and slippers. Police restricted access to the area as they investigated. That started yesterday, and they still have restricted access as they continue their search. We also know CID was here this morning. HPD said that they haven't confirmed if those items are related to the missing girl. Isabella Ariel Kalua was last seen on her adoptive family's home Sunday night, according to HPD. And HPD said yesterday in a statement that foul play has not been ruled out and that there are some family members and acquaintances that have not been cooperating with police. We know HPD is continuing their search, and volunteers are out again as well, and they range from close friends, family members, and there are also a lot of strangers that are out here as well. And really they've said that they've searched a lot of Waimanalo. We know that HPD and other volunteers were out in Kailua, and again, they're still holding on to hope. It is day 5, so it's been a very long week of searching, and volunteers said that they haven't had a lot come up besides those details that we told you that came up yesterday with that bag. We'll, of course, give you any details that come in, and be sure to watch the news tonight. We'll gather as much information as we can for you. For now, we'll take it back to you guys.
Continuing our coverage now, as each day passes with no sign of the little girl, volunteers assisting with the search said it gets more difficult to hold on to hope that she'll be found okay. Here's some of what those volunteers had to say today.
I'm a mother, and I have a granddaughter that's the same age. And it's like my heart is telling me, just go and look, just go and look. Just, go and look.
Yeah. If that was your little girl or daughter.
If it was my granddaughter, I would want the girl to look.
I have a niece, same age, and her name is Isabella.
Stay with Hawaii News Now for continuing coverage as the search continues. We'll have another live report coming up on First at 4, and we'll update our HNN digital platforms if any new details emerge. And Hawaii reported 15 additional COVID fatalities today, the highest single-day total for deaths since the pandemic began. 8 were on Oahu, 6 on the Big Island, and 1 on Maui. The death toll from the virus now stands at 694. And in this month alone, Hawaii has recorded more than 100 fatalities, and today the state also reported 581 new COVID infections.
Breaking news regarding the pandemic, dealing the White House a stinging setback. A government advisory panel overwhelmingly rejected a plan to give Pfizer COVID-19 booster shots across the board and instead endorsed the extra dose for only those who are 65 and older or run a high risk of severe disease. The twin votes represent a heavy blow to the Biden administration's sweeping effort to deal with the surge from the Delta variant. We'll have much more on this story coming up on later editions of HNN.
The 3 Honolulu police officers are under criminal investigation for allegedly causing a near-fatal crash in West Oahu and then fleeing the scene. Our Lynn Kawano spoke exclusively with a witness who says he was shocked to see the officers drive away.
But it was pretty gruesome, the scene when I got there.
The crash happened just before 4 Sunday morning. A white Honda jumped the curb on Farrington Highway, got airborne, taking out fence posts, trees, and skimming a stone wall before landing in a neighbor's yard. 14-year-old Dayton Govea is paralyzed on a ventilator. He's had a rod and screws put into his back and neck. Govea and 5 others were all injured in what Honolulu police originally reported as a single vehicle accident, but witnesses say it was not.
I was coming back from Yokohama's, and as I'm coming around Cabanas, I can see all the way to Surfside basically, and I seen it kind of looked like 2 cars was racing towards me at first because didn't see no lights or anything.
Anthony Charles was riding his motorcycle as he got closer to Orange Street. He realized the white Honda was being chased by 3 police vehicles.
SUV, blue and white, crossed over to my lane, taking the back end of the kids' cars with him.
The car started spinning and tumbling. 5 of the 6 in the car were ejected, thrown across various spots in the neighbor's yard. Charles pulled over. He and the neighbors found the kids and stayed with them until EMS arrived. But Charles says none of the HPD officers stopped to help.
If I was tripping out, I was like, wow, you guys not going to even stop for render aid. You know what I mean? Like, that's terrible. That.
Multiple witnesses reported seeing the 3 HPD vehicles turn onto Jade Street, then circle back around after the 911 call came in. Charles saw them when they returned.
First thing they said was, the first thing I heard from one of the officers was, so what happened here? And so I told him, you guys should know, you guys the ones who ran them off the road. And then he said, oh, you guys got to just waiting for EMS come. You guys got to back away from the area. We got to clear out the area. I said, no way, we got to render aid to these kids. These kids is in bad shape. And so we had about 5, 6, 7 of us over there searching for the kids in the yard until EMS showed up. Then we kind of backed off and let them go. I waited around to see what was going to happen, if anybody was going to say anything. So nobody said anything. So I opened my mouth and I told them, oh, who I supposed to tell? I was one witness. I seen the whole thing.
He said officers did not get a statement. All 6 crash victims, mostly in their late teens, and a 30-year-old suffered serious injuries. Dayton Govea remains at the Queens Medical Center.
But their car was twisted, like it was a sardine can. It tore the roof right off, all the way to the trunk.
HPD says they have launched an internal investigation and have put the 3 officers on restricted duty while that investigation continues. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
The investigation into this crash will be a test for leadership at HPD and its acting chief. The department has been heavily criticized for its lack of transparency and accountability. Attorneys for the victims say the cops should be charged with felonies for leaving the scene.
I can't imagine why they would do this, but it looks like they did. It looks like there is a cover-up, and look, the damages are unbelievable to young people whose lives will never be the same. And why they would do this is beyond me. We're going to find out. There are multiple witnesses that watched what these squad cars did to this vehicle, and there's no mistaking it. And not to stop and render aid. It's you know, if they went by a scene and saw somebody bleeding or in a ditch or hurt, to render aid, but to cause the incident and not to render aid is unthinkable to me.
HPD's acting chief is asking for witnesses to call the department's professional standards office. He says traffic investigation experts are also involved. Security is tight at the nation's capital right now. That's because there's a big rally planned this weekend. Let's turn it over to Skylar Henry with details on that.
Washington, D.C. is on high alert, one day before supporters hold a much-anticipated rally for those arrested in connection with the January 6th storming of the Capitol. CBS News has obtained a Department of Homeland Security bulletin warning it is aware of a small number of recent online threats of violence connected to the rally and found online discussions encouraging violence the day before. According to the bulletin, social media users discussed storming the Capitol the night before the rally, and other references to violence included using the rally to target Jewish institutions, elected officials, and liberal churches.
We're not going to tolerate violence, and we will not tolerate criminal behavior of any kind.
U.S. Capitol Police say they're most concerned about the potential of clashes between protesters and counter-protesters.
In my opinion, that's the most likely scenario for violence.
Fences will be up here at the Capitol and Supreme Court until Sunday. Security cameras are already in place and all available staff will be working. We should also mention that law enforcement officers from around Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia will be on site to assist.
We have extremely strong partnerships with all of our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, and we are appreciative for their assistance and their collaboration going into this weekend.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has approved a request for 100 members of the Washington, D.C. National Guard to be on standby if needed. Officials say they will not be armed. Rally organizers insist Saturday's event will be peaceful, with only 700 protesters expected to attend. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Let's get to another big national story. Here on the islands, all eyes are out looking for that missing 6-year-old girl. But on the mainland, there is a search going on for a missing woman who disappeared on a cross-country road trip. Let's turn it over to Aaron McLaughlin, who has the very latest on that.
This girl right here, this is what matters. That is it. Anything else, it comes second to this.
This morning, the desperate father of Gabby Petito appealing to the country for help as authorities struggle to find her. The 22-year-old's cell phone could be a key source of information.
Why is it so difficult to find her, especially if she had a cell phone?
How long did she have the cell phone? When did she have it? All of those things need to be solidified.
Have you found her cell phone?
We have not.
Gabby's mom says she last spoke to her daughter in late August when Gabby was in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park. Although police say the potential search area stretches all the way to Florida, where her fiancé Brian Laundrie returned home on September 1st without Gabby.
Part of our investigation is the potential that something criminal did happen.
Gabby and Brian chronicled their adventure on social media.
Right outside Capitol Reef right now.
Seemingly a happy couple, but new police body cam footage paints a very different picture.
I'm gone all the time, and he really stresses me out.
Gabby visibly upset and stopped by officers in Utah after they were called to a report of domestic violence and eventually identified Brian as a victim.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face? She had his cell phone in her hand, that's why I was pushing her away.
After Brian asked police not to press charges, they let the two go, with the condition that the couple spend the night apart. Police say they're in the early stages of the investigation, and they're not ruling out a possible link between Gabby's case and a potential double homicide. The bodies of a newlywed couple found last month in Utah, not far from where Gabby and Brian's fight took place. Though according to authorities, there is no definitive link at this time. Brian is now considered a person of interest in Gabby's disappearance. His sister telling ABC News,
Obviously, me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Brian is refusing to talk to authorities on the advice of his lawyer, who says intimate partners are often the first person law enforcement focuses their attention on in cases like this. On Thursday, Gabby's devastated family appealing to Brian's parents for help, saying in a statement, "As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? All we want is Gabby to come home."
All right, that was Aaron McLaughlin reporting there. We'll have much more on that story coming up on later editions of H&N and, of course, on your CBS and NBC Nightly News. Let's switch gears now, talk about the weather. Those winds are picking up. Red flag warning has been issued for leadward sides of the island chain. Let's toss it over to Guy Hoggy with more on the conditions for your weekend.
A typical trading weather day, although it might be a little cloudy at times, there's not going to be a whole lot of rain by the middle of the day, and the temperature's running to about 88 degrees with those winds running about 15 to 25 miles an hour. And because of those increasing trade-ins, we'll see a rising east wind swell. That's where the waves are going to be biggest. We got a little bit of a south pulse too, but that's only at 2 to 4. It's going to be a little choppy there as well, but better conditions in town than on the east side. So we've got these, bouncy trade winds running 15 to 25 miles an hour, a few windward and Mauka showers. Slower trade winds due on Sunday, and we're going to see a few more showers Sunday into Monday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
And this week on H&N's Mothership Podcast with Stephanie Lum, she spoke with Janice Cretton, the mother of Marvel movie director Destin Daniel Cretton, who just released his latest film.
Welcome, everybody, to Mothership Podcast. It is such an exciting time at the movie theaters. For the first time in pandemic history, box offices have recorded the most watched new release. We're talking about Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It has held the #1 spot for 2 weeks in a row, shattering records. And for us in Hawaii, it's very special because it was directed by Maui native Destin Daniel Cretton, and his mother, Janice Cretton, is our special guest.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great for you to be here. First, I got to ask, have you watched the movie?
I have. I just saw it the other day.
And what did you think?
Oh my goodness, it was just amazing. So my son arranged a special screening for me and for Grandpa, because Grandpa's 95 and, he doesn't get out much. So he arranged a special screening in the comfort of my dad's living room.
Wow, a special private screening.
Yeah.
That is
Isn't
amazing.
that cool?
That is so cool. And I've heard him talk very fondly about his upbringing, about you, also about his grandpa. He even told me that he likes to go to Pukalani Superette and clear out the shelves of some of his favorite foods when he's back home. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. He always goes and picks out all the different ready-made food there and brings them to Grandma's kitchen. Yeah, and we all, of course, food is an important part of family, right?
Share with us more about the emotions that you felt watching that movie, knowing that that was your son that had such a big role in hand in putting that together.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's so exciting, to see the fruition of all their hard work this past 2 years. It's just an awesome masterpiece, of action and family relationships and humor and beauty. I mean, the costumes and the settings, they're all so beautiful. I was just blown away.
And even special for you is your daughter had a role in the costumes too. So it was a daughter and son, sister and brother job here.
So, we're so glad to hear that my daughter was hired by Marvel to work with her brother again, because she's done all of his movies. So I was praying that she would get on board this one too. And she did. Hallelujah.
What a very sweet lady. I was sitting in on that interview a little bit yesterday with Stephanie Lum, and she was beyond adorable and so proud of her kids. I have not seen the movie yet, but I know Stephanie's kids love it.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing accomplishment. So proud of
kids.
Maui family, right? Doing that, so heavily involved, and you've heard nothing but great things about the film. Great
People
stuff.
love it. Let's see what else the internet is chatting about today. What you got, Mark?
Yeah, this is the story that was surfacing on the feeds. A 60-year-old mystery surrounding a lost painting has reached its end. An Iona College art professor was visiting a New York church when he saw a piece on display that turned out to be a masterpiece that was missing.
Whoa.
An Italian artist, Cesare Dandini. Historians have been seeking it for decades, and as of now, it's unknown how the painting ended up at the church in the first place and how much it's exactly worth. But
Yeah,
a big break in the case.
Yeah, missing for so many decades. And when I see these paintings, like from this time period, don't they look like photographs? How did they paint that well? Like, I know people can still do it, but it amazes me how just oil on canvas can look like that and retain its look.
And we can't discount how beautiful that frame is as well.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to stay on the art theme here because Jim Mendoza had an amazing conversation with well-known artist Heather Brown. A lot of you see her stuff all around town. She's on buses. She's on cell phone cases.
Beautiful work.
I love it. Well, now she's up to something new, teaming up to make guitar art. Here's their conversation.
Is it safe to say that you've got art all over the world? I mean, people order your stuff from everywhere, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, it surprises me all the time. I mean, everywhere from Japan, Australia, Canada, South America, Europe. I get fans that message me or buy my art or come here on vacation and bring it back home. So yeah, I would say it's everywhere around the world now.
Tell me about the Fender job. What happened with that? How did it all come about?
Well, I was so excited when Fender contacted me. They emailed me and asked if I would be interested in doing this collaboration series with them where I made the art for this guitar. They only made 15 limited edition. It's only was sold in Japan, and it was hugely popular. They actually sold out all of them in the first hour. So unfortunately, there isn't any more left, but I was excited that there was such a huge response and people really liked it.
When they contacted you and they said, Heather Brown, we know about your art and we want you to do this special project with us, what was your reaction to that?
I was like, immediately, yes, absolutely. I love music. I mean, when I make art, I listen to music, and my husband plays guitar, he makes music. So I was really excited to do something like this. There is no doubts in my mind.
Now, people may think that you actually painted on the body of a guitar, but you didn't.
No.
How did you do it?
Similar to, I kind of painted the same colors. This is when I just started yesterday. I did an outline of the guitar shape and kind of took into account, where things will be, where the art will be blocked. And kind of was thinking, how would I like it to look? Like when someone played on stage, the colors I'd like to see and the feeling it would have, and just painted it on canvas and then sent it off to them and they put it all together.
Very cool. And already sold out. I hope to make some more of
And
this.
the guitar just really pops, too. And
Yeah.
you can get lost just looking at it. Great colors.
And I've never seen her in person, so it's always fun to see the artist behind the work, right?
Yeah, and distinct work, too. Like
Yeah.
you could pick it out immediately. That's a sign of an excellent artist, right?
Yep. Well, we have time for one more story, and it's my favorite topic, space news.
Yeah, we've talked about the all-civilian space crew for SpaceX's Inspiration 4 mission. Well, the mission is nearing its end. Thursday marked the last full day in space, and then it's believed they completed 15 orbits around Earth.
Already?
So, taxiing on a grand scale, right? The crew trained for nearly 6 months to prepare for the journey, and who knows what's coming up next, right? That's the big question.
Mark and Jonathan in space. Let's do it. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now on this, what? Friday? Yep, Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Mark's going to be back at 4 on KHNO with all your news updates. Have a good one.
See you.